بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 265. مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم ابتغاء مرضات الله وتثبيتا من أنفسهم كمثل جنة بربوة أصابها وابل فآتت أكلها ضعفين فإن لم يصبها وابل فطل والله بما تعملون بصير. In this example, the Quran explains the similitude of people who spend in the path of Allah with the right intentions and the right mindset. So those who spend their wealth fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, with two characteristics. One is ibtigha'a mardatillah, seeking the pleasure of Allah. This of course denotes ikhlas. The second is وَتَثْبِيتًا مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Tathbeet literally means to fortify, strengthen, or to make something firm. So tathbeet, making firm, min anfusihim, from within themselves. This means that they are mustering up the courage from within to spend in the path of Allah, even though it may not necessarily be convenient or easy to do so. Another meaning that has been given for tathbeet, make themselves firm, meaning seeking the rewards of spending that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised. So they're encouraging themselves by reminding themselves of the reward. This is also called ihtisab. Another meaning of tathbeet here is with firm conviction, yaqeen, firm belief in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give them. So they're doing it solely for the sake of Allah, and they are doing it with courage, they're doing it with strength, even though it might not be easy to do so. They're expecting reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have all the right things going on in their minds and in their hearts. And of course, the cause that they're spending for is also a just cause. The example of these people and their spending is like كَمَثَلِ جَنَّةٍ بِرَبْوَةٍ. There is a dense garden. Jannah is used to refer to garden because the word Jannah literally means to cover up. So this is a garden in which the vegetation is so dense that it's covering the ground. Jannah. Birabwa. Rabwa is a piece of land, it's a tract of land that's slightly raised, slightly elevated. This is the definition given in most books of the Arabic language. In most dictionaries you'll find that it's an elevated land. Some will give the added description that it is a plateau. It is raised, but it is also flat. Some Mufassirin have added that it may have its own source of water, or it may not have any source of its own water. Some Mufassirin have said that Rabwa here refers to a fertile piece of land in which the soil is dense and it is extremely receptive. And this is the view of Imam Razi. So whether it's that flat, elevated, beautiful piece of land which has first exposure to rainfall, open air, sunlight, whether it's in that sense or it's the fertility of the ground that is being referred to, we're talking about a garden that is ideally placed to give the best fruit. Now, this garden receives wabil, asabaha wabil. So wabil is something of strength, something slightly forceful. We're talking about a heavy downpour of rain. And when it receives that heavy downpour, atat ukulaha ضعفين, it gives its fruit in double the amount. In other words, double the amount of other gardens or of other pieces of land. So when it receives heavy rain, it is giving double the fruit. فَإِن لَمْ يُصِبْهَا وَابِلٌ فَطَلٌ. But this garden is so fertile that even if there isn't a heavy downpour of rain, even a slight drizzle, tal, a slight drizzle. In fact, some have gone as far as to say it's similar to dew. So a very, very light rain, a light mist. So even a drizzle is sufficient to make this garden give double the fruit of any other garden. Wallahu bima ta'amaluna basir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees very well what you do. So the result of ikhlas is such that a person could be spending a lot of money, they could be spending a great deal of wealth in the path of Allah, and the rewards will be exponential. But even if a person doesn't have a great deal to spend, they're only spending a little bit, like that drizzle, because the ground has been prepared, the heart is pure with the right intention, the emotions and sentiments are also correct at that time, even a little bit, just like that little bit of a drizzle brings double the fruit, even spending a little bit in the path of Allah with the right intention brings all the rewards that spending a great amount does. At the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not looking at the specific amount, but rather He is looking at the intentions, and He is looking at the sacrifices that a person makes in order to spend. Like some narrations mention that sometimes 1 dirham becomes heavier than 100 dirhams. Why is that? Because a person only perhaps had 2 dirhams and they spent one of those in the path of Allah. So this is more rewarding than a person who had thousands and thousands of them and spent 100. So in this example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the power, conveys to us the power of the right intention and the power of giving under the circumstances that might not necessarily be convenient, but with high expectation of reward. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu wa sallama wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in.